So, you just got your brand new Galaxy Watch Ultra from today's partner, Best Buy, took it out of the box, slapped it on your wrist, connected it to your phone, and now you have no idea what to do besides look at the time and wait for some notifications to come in. Well, that's what this video is for. Here are over a dozen things to do to maximize the usefulness of your Galaxy Watch Ultra. The very first thing you should do is set up your notifications because most of them are actually off by default. And the best way to do this is going to be with your phone. So let's jump over to the phone now and get this set up. And I'll be using both a Galaxy Z Fold 6 as well as a Google Pixel throughout the video to demonstrate the different features because there are some differences depending on whether you're connected to a Samsung device or a non-Samsung Android device. More specifically, there are some exclusive features that are only available on Samsung devices. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and open up the Galaxy wearable application that should have been installed when you connected your watch to your phone for the first time. And if you don't see your Galaxy Watch when you open up the wearable application, just tap this little grid at the bottom, then select your Galaxy Watch. And from this screen, we're going to jump into the watch settings, then notifications, then app notifications, and here's where you can select which applications you want to get notifications for. And you'll notice right here, email is off by default. So go ahead and take some time to enable all of the applications you want to get notifications from. And while you can technically allow notifications for any application, I recommend that you don't do that because then you're going to be getting notifications all the time on your watch, and it's actually going to make a significant impact to the battery life. So just select the notifications you actually care about. If we back out of this notifications page, we'll see the first difference between a Samsung device and a non-Samsung Android device, and that has to do with syncing Do Not Disturb with your phone. So what this means is that if you turn on Do Not Disturb mode on your phone, it's going to automatically turn on Do Not Disturb mode on the watch, and the same vice versa. This feature is just not available on a non-Samsung Android device. And if you're worried about prying eyes trying to see your notifications when they come in, you can jump into the Advanced Notifications options and disable the Show with Details option. This will remove any personal information from the notifications when they come in, and it's not until you tap on a notification that you'll actually see the details. And to be clear, this is for new notifications only. If you swipe to the left of your watch face, all of those notifications will still show the details. And here's a quick bonus tip with your notifications. If you tap one, then double tap it, you'll actually increase the size of the text. And if you double tap again, it'll put it back to its normal size. If you swipe down from your watch face, you'll reveal your quick toggles, and these give you super quick access to really important functions on the watch. For example, if it's really dark in a room and you quickly need to see, you can just swipe over to your flashlight toggle, tap that, and it turns your screen into a bright light. You can then scroll up or down the bezel to increase or decrease the brightness. And this is shockingly bright, and it does work really well as a flashlight at night, or if you're just trying to see inside of a dark area. To customize these toggles, all you have to do is swipe to the end and tap the plus icon, and not only does this let you add new toggles like mobile data, NFC, Bluetooth, or touch sensitivity, which we'll talk about in a minute, it also lets you long press a tile and drag it to a different position. So go ahead and take some time setting these up to get quick access to your most used features. Okay, so taking a look back at the touch sensitivity toggle, if you enable this, it's going to increase the touch sensitivity of the screen and allow you to use the watch with thick gloves on. And this is really helpful either in the winter or if you put a thick screen protector on your watch and you need it to be a bit more sensitive. The next thing you should do is swipe to the right of your watch face and set up your tiles because these do a whole lot more than just give you some information and shortcuts to different things. But first, let's go over some important basics. For starters, if you long press a tile, it'll bring you up into this editing menu, and you can long press again and drag the tile to another position. Some tiles also have this edit icon at the bottom, and if you tap that, you can modify the tile itself. So let's say you never do circuit training, you can just delete that, tap the plus icon, and select a workout that you actually do. And once you're done editing the tile, just swipe in from the left side to go back, and tap the tile to get out of the editing page. You can then add new tiles by either swiping towards the end or by dragging across the digital bezel and scrolling to the end. Then just tap Add Tiles, and you'll see that you get a ton of different options. But most importantly, if you have any smart devices in your home, the SmartThings tiles become tremendously useful. These let you do things like run scenes to control a bunch of different devices at the same time, or even control the settings on a single device. There's even a Google Assistant tile, and this lets you set up 2 Google Assistant commands to quickly control things or do pretty much anything that Google Assistant can do. Or you can just tap the microphone icon to talk directly to Google Assistant. So definitely take some time to set up your favorite tiles because these truly make the Watch Ultra significantly more useful. If you want to track your sleep, all you technically have to do is wear your Galaxy Watch Ultra to sleep. But if you want a much better experience, it's really important to go to your quick toggles by swiping down from the watch face, then tapping this Modes icon, then tapping Sleep. What this will do is put your watch into sleep mode, and it'll prevent you from interacting with the screen. The only ways to get out of sleep mode is to press one of the physical buttons twice to go back to your watch face, or press one of the physical buttons once, then tap Turn Off. And this is a much better way to track your sleep, because if you just go to sleep with this on without turning on sleep mode, you can accidentally interact with it while you're sleeping. And one quick important thing to point out, if you're using a Galaxy Watch Ultra that's connected to a non-Samsung Android device, and you go to your quick toggles, you won't see a modes icon. Instead, you'll just see the sleep mode. And that's because all the other modes are a Samsung exclusive feature. However, sleep mode specifically still works exactly the same regardless of which device you're connected to. And while we're talking about the modes toggle, I do want to point out that it does a whole lot more than just give you a better sleep option. There are actually a ton of unique modes here, and you can even create your own custom modes. And this is the next thing you should do on your Galaxy Watch Ultra. But to do this, you have to jump over to your phone. Once you're on your phone, go ahead and open up the Galaxy Wearable application, then tap Watch Settings, then Modes, then this Modes and Routine option at the bottom. Alternatively, you can just pull down your notification shade twice to reveal all of your quick toggles, swipe over until you find the Modes toggle, and long press that toggle. And here's where you can customize what each mode does. So if I tap this Sleep mode, and tap the Other Actions section, you'll see all the Galaxy Watch settings that are changed by turning on Sleep mode. And if you want to change one of them, all you have to do is tap it, and you can change the setting. You also get a bunch of other actions below, and these actions actually affect your phone, not the watch. So if I select Eye Comfort Shield, for example, and save this mode, when I enable Sleep mode on my watch, it's going to automatically turn on Eye Comfort Shield on my phone as well. And if I turn sleep mode off from my phone, you'll see that sleep mode also turns off on the watch. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this Add Action option. If you tap this, then tap All Actions, you'll see that you can actually do a ton of different things automatically anytime one of these modes are enabled. And speaking of automation, if I back out of here and back out to the main page for one of the modes, you'll see that I currently have it set to turn on manually only. So I have to manually activate it either from the phone or from the watch. But I can choose to have it activate automatically as well. And the suggested conditions are different depending on which mode you're currently changing. Or you can add your own custom condition. And again, as I scroll through this, you can see that there are a ton of different conditions. Even extremely specific conditions like the folded status of your phone if you have a Galaxy Z Fold or a Z Flip. And I'm just barely scratching the surface of what all of these modes can do. Not to mention there's also an entire routine section for a ton of other automations. So definitely take some time to go through all of these modes and customize them for your personal needs. And if you want to see a super deep dive on both modes and routines, you can check out my deep dive video on it by clicking the card above. And I guarantee that video is really going to blow your mind. The next thing you'll want to do is install some applications that'll significantly improve the functionality of the watch. To do that, you're going to swipe up to reveal all of your applications, then tap the Google Play Store icon. Then tap the search icon, and the first app you're going to search for is called Gboard. When you search for that, it'll be the first result, and it's made by Google. So go ahead and install that. And while that's installing, if you scroll down a bit further, you'll see some other really useful Google applications like Gmail, Google Wallet, YouTube Music, Google Home, and Google Calendar. So certainly go through that list and install the applications that you personally use. And if you want to discover other really useful applications, you can just back out of here and scroll through the Google Play Store homepage to see a bunch of other recommended applications. You can, of course, install the applications directly from your phone as well by going to the Google Play Store, changing to the Other Devices tab, and making sure the Watch option is checked. And this will give you a list of all the applications that can be installed on your watch. Once the applications are installed, you'll be able to swipe up on your watch face and swipe to the bottom, and you'll see all the new applications there, with the exception of the Gboard application. To get to that, you actually need to scroll back up and jump into the Settings app, then scroll down until you get to General, then scroll down a bit more to Input, then tap Keyboard List and Default, then the default keyboard, and change that to Gboard. Then go ahead and tap the check mark to confirm. And now you'll get a much better keyboard experience on your watch. For reference, if you want to add any punctuation or emojis or anything like that with the Samsung keyboard, you first have to swipe up on the keyboard, tap the punctuation icon, then select your punctuation. Then to get back to the keyboard, you gotta swipe up again and select the keyboard. So it's a lot of steps for a pretty simple task. But with Gboard, all you have to do is tap this little arrow and you get super quick access to your most frequently used punctuations and even your numbers. Or you could tap the emoji icon and get quick access to all of those as well. The only two drawbacks of Gboard is that your keyboard is physically a little bit smaller and the back gesture no longer works. So if you want to back out of the keyboard, you either have to press the physical back button or the home button. And I should also point out that both of these do support swipe input. And here's a quick bonus tip. If you just want to add a period, all you have to do is double tap the spacebar. This works by default in Gboard, but if you want to enable it in Samsung's keyboard, you have to go back to your settings, then back into the general settings, then the input settings, then tap the Samsung keyboard, then scroll down a bit, and enable double tap spacebar to add period. And one last really important detail is that both Samsung's keyboard and Gboard support voice input by tapping this microphone icon. And it actually works really well, period, smiley face. While we're talking about improving the messaging experience on our watch, we should also jump back into the Galaxy wearable application on our phones and go to the watch settings, then scroll to the bottom and go into the general section, then tap quick responses. You should see suggested replies and message suggestions on by default, and these are actually a bit different. Message suggestions on non-Android Samsung devices give you some basic suggestions on what to reply with based on the previous message. And these are pretty basic. Suggested replies on newer Samsung devices use Galaxy AI to read the previous few messages and add a bit more context to the suggested replies. But regardless of which device you're connected to, you have this custom responses section, and this is something you should absolutely edit when you first get your device. Just tap the edit icon, then you can either reorder them, select and delete the ones that you don't use, or scroll to the bottom of the main quick responses page and add a new response. And that can be up to 30 characters long. And taking just 5 minutes to set up your most frequently used responses is going to save you a ton of time messaging later. And I almost forgot to mention that you can even edit your emoji responses as well. Now that we have a better keyboard, let's swipe back up to see all our applications and scroll to the bottom, and you'll see those new applications that we installed. The Gmail application just gives you quick access to all of your emails, and if you tap an email, you can scroll down and tap more to see the rest of the message. And you also get quick actions to archive it, delete it, favorite it, mark it as unread, open it on your phone, or reply directly on your watch. Google Calendar just gives you access to upcoming calendar events. YouTube Music obviously gives you access to all of your music, and you can download that directly to the watch and connect wireless earbuds again directly to the watch without your phone so that you can listen to your music even if your phone isn't with you. And that's something I highly recommend doing if you're going to track workouts with your watch, but you're not often going to have your phone with you. Just keep in mind, this download option's only available with the premium version of YouTube Music, and it's also available with the premium version of Spotify. And in case you're wondering, the fastest way to connect Bluetooth headphones to your watch is to just pull down your quick toggles and tap the Bluetooth headphones toggle. And this will show all of the Bluetooth devices that are already connected to your phone. Just tap the one you want to connect to, tap the check mark, and you'll be connected. Google Home gives you quick access to any smart devices that are connected to your Google Home account. And it lets you quickly control those devices with a tap, and you can even swipe left or right to do things like change brightness. Google Wallet is obviously just a digital wallet for mobile payments, and we'll talk about this a bit more in a minute. So for now, I want to show you something different you can do on this app screen, and that is group applications. So not only can you long press an application and drag it to move it around, but you can also drag it on top of another application to make a folder. You can then tap the plus icon and tap any other apps that you want to add. Then just tap done, and all of those apps are added in. At the top, you can tap the folder name and change the name of it. And you can even change the folder's background color. Once you're satisfied with the changes, just tap the back button, and you'll see the updated folder there. You can then long press and drag your favorite applications up to the top for quick access. The app page can also easily be customized from within the Galaxy wearable application in the app screen section. And the controls work exactly the same here. Another thing you should do right away while we're in the Galaxy wearable application is set up the Find My Watch feature. The first time you tap this on a Samsung device, it'll take you through a setup process. And once that process is complete, you'll see that you get a lot more options when connected to a Samsung device than a non-Samsung Android device. Not only can I make the watch ring, but if I tap this More option, you get this Notify When Left Behind toggle. And if you enable this, you'll get a notification on your phone if you ever take your watch off and walk away. And if you tap the notify when left behind text, you can add a safe place so that you don't get notifications when you're at home. And those features just aren't available on a non-Samsung Android device. And while we're talking about how to find your watch, you should also become familiar with how to find your phone. To do that, all you have to do is pull down your quick panel and tap the phone with a magnifying glass icon. This will make your phone start ringing even if you have it on silent. Now it's time for some fun things, like customizing your watch face. And you may have noticed throughout the video that I have different watch faces that don't come with the watch. And I'll have the names of every one of the watch faces I use down in the description and pinned comment in case you're interested. So to customize your watch face, you have a few options. The first is to long press it, then tap the customize option, and depending on the watch face, you'll get different things that you can change. And to change one of the parameters, just swipe up or down, or scroll across the bezel. When you're happy with your changes, just swipe in from the left side to go back, then tap the watch face, and your changes will be applied. If you want to change to a completely different watch face, just long press, and swipe over to some of your recently used watch faces, or tap add watch face at the end. From here, you can scroll through all of your available watch faces, and any watch faces that you've downloaded will be at the very bottom. But there's honestly a much easier way to edit your watch faces, and we'll take a look at that now. If we jump back to the phone and open up the Galaxy wearable application, you'll see this watch faces option. And if you tap this, you'll be able to quickly scroll through all of your available watch faces. And at the top, if you tap the customize text, you'll be able to fully customize your watch face right from the phone. But just keep in mind, some third-party watch faces do take a bit of time to load if they have a lot of customization. And now that the customization options are loaded, it's a lot easier to see exactly what you're changing when you select a different setting. Complications are also a lot easier to edit from the phone as well. And in case you're not familiar, complications can either give you information on your watch face, or they can act as shortcuts for different functions. And if you scroll to the very bottom of this page, you'll see an option to find more watch faces on Google Play. And this is a great way to find incredible watch faces in all sorts of different categories. The next feature we're going to talk about is found in the Settings, then the General tab, and about halfway down, you'll see this option called Orientation, and this allows you to quickly change the orientation of the watch to either your left or right wrist, and even the button position to the left or right side, because sometimes people want to wear the watch on their left wrist, but also have the buttons on the left side of the watch. So if I tap that left icon, you can see that everything flipped upside down. And now if I flip the watch over, you'll see that I have the buttons on the left side, but all the text is right side up. And let me know in the comments below if you're the type of person to have the buttons towards your forearm instead of towards your hand. The next thing you should do is set up either Samsung Wallet or Google Wallet. Just tap either application to get started and follow the setup process. And regardless of which payment method you use, you will need to set up a screen lock first. But don't worry, the screen lock is only used when you first put the watch on. And you can choose between a pattern or pin type security. And both Samsung Wallet and Google Wallet do support membership cards. And with a single tap, you'll get a barcode you can scan. And by default, if you long press the back button, it's going to take you to Samsung Wallet. And unfortunately, at the time of making this video, you can't change that to Google Wallet. However, there are a couple other shortcuts you can set up. The first and most obvious option is to move Google Wallet towards the top of your app screen, so it's only one swipe and a tap away. Or you can long press your watch face, tap Customize, swipe all the way over to your complications, tap one of the complication areas, then scroll down until you find Google Wallet and tap that. Now when I back out of here and go back to my watch face, I can tap that complication area and jump right into Google Wallet. The next thing you should do is go to your settings again, then go to buttons and gestures and customize what all of your buttons do. Most importantly, you can change your home button press and hold option from opening up Bixby to opening up Google Assistant. However, I don't recommend that you completely get rid of Bixby. And that's because it's a whole lot more powerful for watch-specific features. For example, if I try to use Google Assistant and say, start a circuit training workout.
Sorry, you don't have any apps installed that support this action.
It's just not going to work. But if I use Bixby instead, start a circuit training workout. It'll actually work. And not only can you start a specific workout with Bixby, but you can also chain them together. So I can say something like, start a pull-ups exercise.
I'll end the current exercise and begin the new one.
And just like that, I'm into the next exercise. And when you tap to finish the workout, you'll see both workouts together with the total time and total calories burned. And these sorts of functions just aren't possible with Google Assistant. So because of that, I recommend keeping both of them enabled. You can keep Bixby as the long press option and change your double press shortcut to Google Assistant. And while we're talking about customizing these buttons, if you scroll down a bit further, you can see that you can also customize the back button. And since the default mode is just to go back to the previous screen, which you can already do by swiping in from the left side of the screen, I recommend changing that to something a bit more useful, like maybe showing your recent applications, because now when I press it, I can see all of my open applications and jump to exactly what I want. We should also scroll back up to the top and change our quick button function, which is the orange button on your watch. By default, when you press this button, it's going to open up the My Exercises page to quickly get access to all of your available exercises. But if you want it to do something different, just tap the action area and you get a few different options. For starters, if you tap the settings gear, instead of opening up the My Exercises page, you can actually jump straight into your multi-sport workouts. Or you can select a specific exercise. And you can select any exercise that's saved to the main page of your My Exercises panel. So that means any exercise on this page here. If you wanted to use a different exercise, you have to tap this Add option, tap Select Exercise, then scroll through all the available exercises, and tap the specific exercise you want to add. Then you can go back to your settings, and you'll see the new exercise option there. So now when I press the quick button, it's going to immediately start a sailing exercise. If we jump back into the button settings and scroll down a bit, you can see that there's a few other features we can enable as well. So if you don't often do workouts, but you do set a lot of stopwatches, you can select that, then just press the button on the side, and it'll quickly start your stopwatch for you. And once the stopwatch is started, this actually works for a custom button specifically for the stopwatch. So if I press it again, it'll stop it, or I can press it a single time to resume. And if I double press it, it'll actually record a lap. So if you're trying to record lap times maybe around a track, this is a great way to do it. And if you want to reset it, just long press it. And besides the stopwatch, you also get quick access to either a flashlight or the water lock mode. And if you're not familiar with Samsung Galaxy watches, water lock mode just stops any physical input from the watch. So when water lock mode's enabled, I can't interact with the screen at all. And this is excellent for swimming because if you don't have water lock mode enabled and you go swimming, your screen's going to start freaking out with all the water hitting it, and you're going to end up accidentally calling people, maybe sending some messages by mistake. It's definitely not going to be a good day. Then once you're done with water lock mode, just hold the home button for a few seconds. And it turns it off and ejects any water out using a loud sound. But you can, of course, quickly enable the water lock mode from your quick panel as well, so I personally don't recommend setting your quick button to that. And here's a quick bonus tip. If you want to stop the water lock mode from making that sound when you turn it off, all you have to do is press the button a second time as soon as the sound starts. If we back out to the main button and gestures menu and scroll down a little bit more, you can see that you can also change how the actions start. So by default, it's set to a short press, but you can set it to a double press in case you find yourself accidentally activating it. And the last option is the siren. So if I hold this button for 5 seconds, it's going to give me a countdown for a siren, and this is going to get super loud. And all you have to do is tap the X to stop it. But here it goes. Ready? Oh, jeepers. Oh, that's so uncomfortable. Wow, that is jeepers. That oh, man, that just sends chills down your spine. That is so insanely loud. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to be that. I knew it was going to be bad, but wow, that was intense. Okay, don't turn that on accidentally. That'll certainly alert people. All right, now that I've had a second to recover from that, this is obviously really useful if you're in some sort of an emergency situation and you have to get people's attention. This will certainly do it. Wow, that was loud. So while it is possible to disable this mode, I highly recommend keeping the siren on. And while we're talking about the quick button, which is primarily used for workout related things, we should talk about some customizable workouts you should set up. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and press this button to jump back into our exercises and scroll all the way to the end, either by swiping or scrolling across the digital bezel. Then we're going to go back one option to the add option and tap that. And if we scroll up a bit, you can see that you can create a new exercise or create a new workout routine. The create new exercise option is really useful if you don't see the exercise you want in this massive list. And when you create a new exercise, you can obviously name it, But you can also select which type of data is recorded and which category to put the exercise in. So once you've taken time to add in your personal exercises, you should back out of here and go to the Create Workout Routine. Now this is excellent for anyone that goes to a gym or has some sort of a workout routine that's not just a single exercise. And just for a quick example, I've already created a routine here, and if I tap this, you'll see that it starts with a 5-minute warm-up, then some arm curls, a break, jump rope, and it just keeps going with a bunch of different exercises. And if I scroll back up and tap one of those, I can actually customize the workout before starting it instead of having to create a brand new workout. And the best part about this is that the entire routine is saved into a single workout. So you can see metrics like your heart rate through all of the exercises instead of just one exercise at a time. And to make selecting your exercises even easier, just long press one that you don't do, and that'll bring up this menu that allows you to select any exercise that you don't personally do. Then you can tap hide and it makes the list a lot more manageable. The Watch Ultra comes packed with some incredible health features, and if you don't take the time to learn what those are, you truly wasted your money on this watch. So let's take a look at some of those now. For starters, let's swipe up from the watch face and go to the Samsung Health application. From here, you see that you get your basic sleep tracking, and this will give you a bunch of information about how well you slept, including your sleep stages, how much you moved throughout the night, how much time you spent awake and in different sleep stages, and you even get your blood oxygen, skin temp, heart rate, and respiratory rate while you were sleeping. And one of the last things here is sleep consistency, which just shows how frequently you get to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. Clearly, I don't wake up or go to bed at the same time ever. But most importantly, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see this advanced option, and if you tap this, it's going to open up an application on your phone. So let's go ahead and check it out now. And here's you can set up your first advanced feature called snore detection. If you enable this, then tap the snore detection text, you'll get some more options and some more information about it. Simply put, what this does is record audio with your phone while you're sleeping to see if you're snoring. You then have the option to let your phone save a recording of that, and at the top, you can choose to detect snoring every night or only once. But these aren't the only sleep measurements you can take. In fact, the next one could actually save your life. And to get to that, we're going to jump back to the watch. And from here, you're just going to swipe up to your applications and swipe down a bit until you see this pulse looking one. This is called Samsung Health Monitor, and the first time you open it, you'll have to accept some permissions. And once you've accepted those permissions, right at the top, you'll see this sleep apnea option. And if you tap this, it'll ask you to install Samsung Health Monitor on your phone. So just go ahead and tap Get Samsung Health Monitor right here, and it'll take you to the app on your phone. So go ahead and install, then open it, then tap Sleep Apnea here, then check the Sleep Apnea feature option. It gives you a few warnings telling you that you shouldn't use it if you're either pregnant or have a temporary impaired breathing, maybe from the flu, asthma, allergies, or a similar condition. And it also tells you that this isn't meant to diagnose sleep apnea, but instead alerts you that you might have sleep apnea so you can talk to your doctor about it. So once you read that, tap Continue. Then it'll give you some instructions on how to get the best results. Then just tap Turn On, then OK. Now all you have to do is wear the watch to sleep for 2 nights out of 10, and you'll be notified on whether or not you may have sleep apnea. And this is extremely valuable because most people never even know that they have sleep apnea. And I probably should have said this at the beginning, but sleep apnea is a condition where you stop breathing periodically at night. And obviously, breathing is a very important thing to do, so if you stop breathing, it's kind of important to know that. Jumping back into the Samsung Health Monitor app, at the bottom, we can actually switch over to ECG, and this is something that's actually been around on Samsung Galaxy watches for a long time, but this simply allows you to take an ECG with your watch. And this feature is specifically looking for atrial fibrillation. To use this feature, just go to your Galaxy watch and swipe up to your applications and go back into the Samsung Health Monitor application and tap ECG, update it if you need to, scroll to the bottom and tap OK, then lightly rest your index finger on the home button. And after about 30 seconds, you'll get your result. And there's one more really important thing to know about the Samsung Health Monitor application, and that it's only available for Samsung devices. So if your watch is connected to a non-Samsung Android device, then you go onto your watch and open up that Samsung Health Monitor application. It's actually going to tell you that you need a Samsung phone in order to use it. However, besides the sleep apnea and ECG measurements, you still have access to all of the rest of the measurements in the Samsung Health application on non-Samsung Android devices. For the next few health features, we're actually going to open up the Samsung Health app on the phone because I want to show you guys a few things that you can see on the phone that you can't see on the watch. For example, if I look at my sleep score and scroll down here, when I tap one of the categories, I'll get a lot more information about what it even means. And having access to all these details makes it a lot easier to improve these different aspects of your life. And if I back out of here, then back out of sleep again, you'll see that below sleep we get a new feature called Energy Score. And what this does is track your sleep, activity, and heart rate, and gives you a score based on your overall health, not just one category. And by tracking those different aspects, it's able to give you personalized recommendations to improve your health. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that you also have this AGE's index. And what this does is measure something called your AGE's index, which helps you figure out how healthy your diet and lifestyle are. And if you scroll down through here, it'll actually give you a lot of information about what exactly this is and how to improve it. But for now, all you need to know is that this is measured automatically when you sleep. And since I've just been wearing the Galaxy Ring to sleep recently, there's no results shown. But if I go back a bit, you'll see that mine is actually kind of high. So maybe it's time for me to start working out again and picking some healthier foods. The next important health feature to check out is body composition. And to get to this, just go to your watch, swipe up to get to your applications, go back into the Samsung Health application, and scroll about halfway down until you see body composition. Then just tap that, tap measure, enter your gender, height, and weight information. And if you scroll down a little bit here, you'll see that it says not to use this if you have an implanted pacemaker or other implanted medical device. And the reason is because this is going to send a small electrical current from your wrist all the way through your body back to your fingertips. And you certainly don't want that interfering with a pacemaker, so this is extremely important. So once you've read that, scroll down a bit and tap how to measure. Then it says to move your watch a little higher up and place 2 fingers here without letting your fingers touch your wrist. And you want your arms lifted off your body. So once you've done all that, tap OK, and you can take your measurement. And when you finish the measurement, you get a lot of really useful health information. So you can see I weigh a little bit too much for my height. And if I scroll down a bit, I get to the body analysis section, and I can see that my body fat percentage is a bit too high as well. So I certainly have some work to do, and this is definitely going to help track my progress. And speaking of tracking progress, if we jump back into the Samsung Health application and look at the body composition measurement, if you tap this, you'll get a chart at the top, and you can actually scroll through and see your progress over time. And yes, my progress is going backwards. Let me know in the comments below if you can relate to the struggle. And here's a quick bonus tip. If you long press any of the sections in the Samsung Health application and drag them to a different position, then save it by tapping this back arrow, that's going to be reflected on the watch. And you can see right there, I now have a body composition at the very top. So it's definitely worth the time to set up your most frequently used features at the top. And if you have any friends or family members who also have a Galaxy Watch or maybe even a Galaxy Ring, it's definitely worth jumping into the Together tab in the Samsung Health application and setting this up. And once you go through the setup process, you can challenge your friends or family to see who can get to the step target first, or who can go the furthest in a certain amount of time. And you can do the challenge individually or as teams. Now let's take a look at a really advanced feature. Let's go ahead and swipe up to reveal our apps, and swipe down a bit and tap the settings icon. Then tap buttons and gestures, and scroll down until you see gestures. And you'll see this double pinch option right here. If you enable this, you'll be able to simply pinch twice between your index finger and thumb to answer phone calls, dismiss alerts, launch apps, control your music, or even take photos. And this has actually been super handy when I was grilling because I had raw meat in my right hand and then I had to dismiss one of the alarms that was going off to check the meat. All I had to do was pinch my fingers together and it dismissed the alarm, which is a whole lot better than getting raw meat on the watch. Below the double pinch gesture, you'll see 2 more. You've got shake to dismiss and knock knock. If you enable shake to dismiss, you'll be able to rotate your wrist twice to decline incoming calls or dismiss alerts like alarms, timers, and reminders. And if you want single-handed access to your favorite application, you can enable knock knock. By default, it'll open up your exercises, but if I tap this, you get some system level things like opening recent apps and turning on the flashlight, or you can open up any application you have installed on your watch. So let's say I want to quickly control the camera on my phone for a group photo. All I have to do is enable the camera controller option, then knock twice, and that'll open up the camera on my phone. And since I also have the pinch gesture enabled, I can just double pinch to take a picture without ever touching the watch. Now let's talk about a hidden feature that very few people know about, and that has to do with what happens when you connect a Galaxy Watch Ultra and Samsung's brand new Galaxy Ring. When you're wearing both of these at the same time, The Galaxy Ring will intelligently limit its tracking to just heart rate and sleep data to save battery life. And this actually made a huge difference in my testing because I was able to get 8 days of battery life out of the Galaxy Ring when Samsung says you're only supposed to get about 7. And if your watch ever runs out of battery, or maybe it gets too loose and it's not tracking well, then the Ring will kick back into full tracking so you don't miss any of your measurements. And for a limited time, if you get the Galaxy Ring sizing kit from Best Buy, you get a $10 Best Buy gift card. I'll have Best Buy affiliate links in the description and pinned comment if you want to get that sizing kit, the Galaxy Watch Ultra, or the Galaxy Ring. And if you want to see my complete guide on the Galaxy Ring, you can check out this video here. Or if you want to see a ton of advanced and hidden features on the Galaxy Watch Ultra, you can check out this video instead. That's it for this tech episode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.